hockey time.
Well, it was a long trip to get up here. You see Joey Rapp taking one right in the kneecap. Joey on the IR here, but we finally made it out to Topeka. It's the Indiana Sentinels and the Topeka Scarecrows coming up next. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Landon Arena. Andy Poetzinger here, happy to bring you along on the broadcast, and welcome to the Body Armor Indiana Sentinels pregame show, where your Indiana Sentinels are getting ready to take on the Topeka Scarecrows. The Sentinels coming into today's game at 6-20-4 on the year, 21 points. That's 7th in the Empire Division. Meanwhile, Topeka on the other side, rocking 19-11 on the season, 53 points. That's 3rd best in the Empire Division. The Indiana Sentinels are certainly slumping coming into this hockey game. They have lost their last 7 games in a row, and it's been a really tough trek, especially since the beginning of the new year. Had a lot of guys that are injured, guys that are fatigued, guys that are getting called up to the SPHL as well. We'll get to that in just a moment. But, you know, it's been a Sentinels roster that really hasn't been able to catch a break for the last little while. So this has been the first really normal week for the Sentinels in quite a long time. Last weekend against the Port Huron Prowlers, supposed to be a 2-game weekend. Obviously, the winter storm warning came in and wiped that out. But going up to Port Huron, they had a heck of a time with the bus getting it started. Only arrived a couple of hours before game time. So surely the boys were a little tight, a little tired. And you know, you can make excuses all day long. It wasn't a great game for Indiana. They lost 5-1. Were completely outplayed for the first 40 minutes for sure. And then even into the third period, they started to turn up the engines a little bit, but it was a little too late. So Sentinels coming into Landon Arena on a bit of a slumping streak, but this is a Scarecrow team that does typically play down to its opponents as well. So you might be able to catch a sleeping giant in their bed a little bit. So I did talk with Coach Everett Thompson before the game just about this matchup and why it's been such a big rivalry up until this point. So let's listen to Everett Thompson. Andy Poetzinger downstairs pregame with head coach Everett Thompson. Everett, we got in yesterday, so well-rested group compared to what we had in Port Huron on Saturday last week. What are the biggest things that you're looking for from your group for tonight?
Yeah, you know, like you said, coming in here with the rest here, I think it's one of those things where when you're prepared properly, you can really expect a lot out of these guys here. I think our expectations going into this one are really high. I think we kind of cleaned the slate from last week. You just kind of put it in the back burner and, you know, forget about it. And going forward, you know, we're trying to find and form our identity here. We got a good amount of games left here to still make some stretch here in the standing. So I think it's one of those things where if you get hot at the right time, it's all about playing right at the right time in this business. So, you know, we get hot here. These next 2 months, things can change a lot.
With Topeka being somewhat of a higher-powered offensive team, is there something to winning this hockey game from your end out?
Yeah, you know, defense first. You always have to play defense in hockey. It's one of those things that never really stops. The puck can bounce, and all of a sudden the guy can be in a breakaway. So you always want to have a defense-first mentality here, especially when you're going against a veteran group that, like I said earlier, they're, you know, an expansion team too, but they've got some veteran players that put the puck in the back of the net. We know that going into it, so we're going to play our style here, which is the defensive style first game here, and that will hopefully result in some more offense tonight.
With you guys playing Topeka, obviously somewhat of a relatively big rivalry weekend this weekend, how are you able to get this group, which is a younger group, to not necessarily give everything that they've got in a 2-game span here in just this one game?
Yeah, you know, you gotta, at this level, you have to be able to control your energy levels here. It's one of those things we do talk about. You can't exert yourself right away here. You got to be ready for the full marathon. It's not a sprint. There's times when you have to sprint, and there's times when you got to control your emotions and your energy levels. So it's just one of those things we do talk about, and you try to exuberate them in certain aspects, and then you try to save it when you can.
Perfect. Everett Thompson. All right, big thanks to Everett Thompson for taking a little time to hang out with us and talk with us. And a couple of points that he had made there, especially with this younger roster coming in, it's important for them not gearing up for this hockey game and completely expending all of their energy in the first period. You want to try to hold back at least a little bit and give yourself the best opportunity for a 60-minute effort, which is exactly what it's going to need to be in order to take down the Topeka Scarecrows. So the Sentinels have had a couple of guys that have gone up to the SPHL and have done really well for themselves as we take a quick look at exactly who's been up there. Denver Craig with the Quad City Storms, as well as Colin Tracy with the Bulls, the Birmingham Bulls. Sentinels in the SPHL, you take a look there. Denver Craig, 5 games played, no goals, no assists, and no points. He's a -1, but don't let that fool you. Denver Craig got himself into a fight the other day, so his little fracas against Port Huron, trying to pump up his teammates, probably got into his skull a little bit. So good on Denver Craig for doing what he's got to do in order to stay up on that SPHL roster. And for Colin Tracy on the other side, he's been out there for just a little while longer. He's got 11 games played with 2 goals and 1 assist and 3 points. He's been a +2, so he's been very good for that back end for the Birmingham Bulls. So we're going to step aside for a quick commercial break and come back with the final part of the pregame show, the Indiana Sentinels pregame show, which is brought to you by Body Armor.
Scott and his entire team, from the most simplistic things to the most complex, are phenomenal. They're informative, responsive, and something that's important to me, they're honest.
As a business owner myself, I know how important it is to protect your livelihood. I'm Scott Weatherford, owner of Richard Hawes Insurance. Give me a call today and we can chat about how an independent agent can save your business money.
In the back of the net.
All right, welcome back to Landon Arena, where your Indiana Sentinels are just about ready to take on the Topeka Scarecrows. The Scarecrows, one of the better offensive teams in the league, have a couple of guys in their lineup, Elijah Wilson, Scott Koash, who could really put the puck in the net. A couple of guys to look out for there, especially Scotty Koash. He's been very good against the Indiana Sentinels. Koash with 6 goals in 4 games played, and he is 1 goal away from getting 100 in his FPHL career, so something to look out for there. However, for the Topeka Scarecrows, the biggest guy that you want to keep an eye out for is going to be Hugo Koch. 2 goals, 8 assists, and 10 points versus the Sentinels on the season. Hugo Koch, in the entirety of this season, has 4 goals, so half of them coming against the Sentinels, as well as 23 points. So he's done a lot of damage against this Indiana Sentinels roster. He is certainly somebody that they want to keep an extra eye on. Our head-to-head matchup. As I mentioned, the Sentinels 6-20-4 heading into this hockey game. Or excuse me, 6-20-4. Pardon me, that's a little incorrect. Head-to-head, they are 0-3-1. Going up against the Topeka Scarecrows. There you see the goals for and the goals against. A little flip-flop between both teams. So very important to make sure that both of these teams, or that the Indiana Sentinels, can catch Topeka a little sleep at the wheel. We'll send it on downstairs for the starting lineups and the national anthem. Andy Poetzinger downstairs pregame with the star from yesterday's game, Blake Peavy. Blake, obviously it's been a little while since you've been back in the Fed. This is now going to be your fourth game with the Indiana Sentinels. How do you feel now that you're back?
It's taken a couple games to get back into it, but it's a blessing to put the gear on, so it's great to be back.
Did you find that any part of your game was kind of easy to get back into the groove with, or is there a part of your game that you're kind of struggling like, wow, I can't believe I haven't gotten there yet?
It's all taken, like I said, a couple games, but as we go here, it's coming together. The timing of, breakouts and, passes, the speed of the game. I've been coaching juniors, so giving, junior kids passes is a little different speed than giving pro guys passes. So it's taking a little bit, but we're getting there.
You've been around this Sentinels group before, earlier on in the season as a stand-in coach for a little bit, so you're not unfamiliar with these guys, but what kind of drew you to this team when you were coming back?
I told Everett after I coached back in, I believe, November, it was that he had an incredible group of guys. It really seemed like, even though they weren't having the most success in the, in the points-wise, in the production-wise, but they were really bought into what Everett's been preaching, and coming back now, it really seems like it's even amped it up a little bit. So it's really, it was an easy decision. I was still on the roster, so it was a no-brainer to come back and try to finish out the rest of my career here.
Last night, pretty fun hockey game. First period, it was a little back and forth. You guys were able to battle back from a 2-goal deficit, and come time for the shootout. Did you know you were going to get that tap on the shoulder, or what?
No, I didn't. But that's what you look for as an athlete, is to be called on in big moments. And yeah, it was definitely a surprise. But big moments called, you gotta come through, and thank God it did. So.
Yeah. Got one more game tonight before we finally head back home. Feels like we haven't been home in forever, but we see these Danbury hat tricks again 2 more times back in Indiana. What are you expecting out of Danbury tonight after a pretty close game?
They have a lot of firepower over there, a lot of speed. I'm sure they're going to come out hard, try to get some points back on us tonight. We have to weather that storm and make sure we're prepared. Same thing when they come to us next weekend. I'm sure, especially depending upon the way this game goes, they're probably going to even come out harder in our building. So looking forward to the test, and we'll see how it goes.
All right, appreciate it, Blake. Thank you.
Thank you.
Blake Peavy. Andy Poetzinger downside with Everett Thompson, head coach of your Indiana Sentinels. E.T., we're finally out of New York, here in Connecticut, getting ready to take on Danbury. I know Friday and Saturday last weekend didn't go very well for you guys, but what were some of the better things that happened on Saturday compared to Friday?
Yeah, we played with a lot more energy. Our passing was way more crisp. Our breakouts looked a lot better. It was one of those games where throughout the 60 you're playing a top team in the league. They got some bounces and found a way to score some goals. We just had to find a way to get back in the goal column here. I think that was the only thing we were really missing from last weekend's Saturday game. Like you said, played a lot better jump. We need to bring that same attitude here today.
You got Danbury here tonight in the next 4 games, in fact, so you're going to see them quite a lot. They've lost their last 4 in a row. How much stock are you putting into anything like that?
Same as last weekend. It's all about the game that's in front of us here. We lost last weekend too, so both teams are hungry to get in the win column.
What are some of the things that you're picking up from Danbury that you guys are looking to face today?
Yeah, they play really aggressive style hockey here, especially at home here. They're going to be in your face. The crowd's going to be loud here. It's always a great atmosphere in Danbury here, so we're excited to put on a show for them.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.
Good morning, Sentinels fans, and welcome to your game preview. My name's Andy Poetzinger. Well, the Sentinels are finally off of their losing streak and have put 2 big wins together against the Topeka Scarecrows last weekend. It was a 4-2 and a 5-3 victory. Very, very good efforts all the way through from the Indiana Sentinels. Full 60-minute efforts in both games. And the most important thing for me is that they were able to win from their own end out. They took care of the defensive zone first. That led to chances offensively, and they were able to cash in on those. So against a pretty high-powered team like Topeka, that's a great way to win those 2 hockey games.
I think we did everything that we needed to do. Played the X's and O's and cleared out of our house in our defensive zone when we needed to, and just capitalized on our chances when we needed to at most, especially against a gritty team like that, against Topeka, and looking to get some points and get back into it. So felt good to be be on top for once against a really good team.
Thanks to that weekend sweep, the Sentinels are now 8-20-4 on the season, and they come into Binghamton to take on the quote-unquote struggling Black Bears, and I put the air quotes around it just because they have lost 3 straight in a row. That's something that they don't typically do. They've got 5 regulation losses all year long, so their last couple games have not been very good for Binghamton. 1 loss to PD, a shutout loss, and then last weekend to Twin Cities, they lost 5-4 in overtime and 7-5 in regulation. So they are still the 2-time reigning champions, though. So they are very, very dangerous.
A little bit, yes, because they're looking to find some points, and especially losing a couple games in a row. Teams are desperate at this point, at this time of the season, to get some points. So I know they're going to be firing from all cylinders tonight, but we got to be firing from all cylinders as well to keep and maintain our win streak as well.
My 3 keys to the game tonight. My first one is the Sentinels still have to win from their own end out. They were great last weekend against Topeka. They need to be even better against Binghamton. Topeka could put the puck in the back of the net. Binghamton could put the puck in the back of the net twice as better than Topeka can. So it's very important to still stay taut defensively, be even stringier in your own zone, and that's going to throw Binghamton off their game, which leads me to number 2. You have to win the first period. If Binghamton is caught off guard, they're going to sit there and think, oh my God, this is going to be a long weekend again. We don't want to drop 4 or 5 in a row. It's going to start to put a little bit of panic in them, which leads to penalties being taken and Indiana going up onto the power play, which my third point, special teams are absolutely huge. Binghamton is tops in the league in both power play and penalty kill on their special team. So if you are going to end up going up a man or going down a man, you got to make sure that you convert on both of those chances, make the most of them. Puck drop is going to be at 7 o'clock tonight. The pregame show will start at 6:45. You can catch everything on the Sentinels Hockey Network on YouTube. We hope to see you there. Enjoy the game, everyone.
Well, the Sentinels are certainly going to get used to being on the road here for the next little while. Take a look at the Road Warriors, the Indiana Sentinels. The next 6 games are going to end up being on the road. Obviously, these 2 here against the Topeka Scarecrows on the 30th and the 31st, both of those starting at 8:05. Then they head out to Binghamton for a big weekend against the Black Bears, who are atop the Empire Division and one of the top teams in the league. And then they'll finish out with Danbury on the 13th and the 14th out in Connecticut. So the Indiana Sentinels going to be playing on the road quite a bit. And the road hasn't been awful to Indiana. They are 4-9-3 out on road ice, so have done relatively well for themselves away from home, but certainly need to figure out a way to start picking up a couple of W's here now that we are past the latter half, or getting into the latter half of the season. Well, I mentioned that there were 10 different players who had scored or gotten on the score sheet yesterday. Here's the last 5 games of who those goals are coming from coming into this hockey game. 2 goals for Richie Colarusso, 2 for Vlad Plavlov, Noah Hippolyte-Smith, Jawan Davis, Ivan Panovanov, and Nolan Slahetka, all with 1. So not your usual suspects for the Indiana Sentinels. Gives you a chance to talk a little bit about the Sentinels the Sentinels penalty kill, which has done so well as of late. Here's the last 5 games: 19 kills in the last 21 attempts, 90.5%. And really, coming into today's game, take away that Port Huron game where they had 12 penalty kills. That's a very, very good penalty kill in the last couple of games. So you want to try to right the ship a little bit as they were struggling. Good way to do that is defensively and killing off some penalties. They are 1 for 2 on the day today as walk-in on the blue line is Ramakers.
All of them get free t-shirts.
Welcome back to Binghamton, where the Black Bears lead at 2-0 through first 6 minutes here just about of the second period. Well, the Indiana Sentinels, whenever they've had a tough game over the last couple of months or so, they come back with a much better effort. You see against Watertown, lost 5-1, come back and win 6-2. Then against Port Huron, lose 5-1, play their next game against Columbus, lose 3-2, but play extremely well in that game. And then more recently, back on the 24th, lost again to Port Huron 5-1, come back with a big win against Topeka 4-2. So this team is slightly inconsistent for sure, but the fact that a young team like this is able to bounce back after a tough performance and make it a close game on the next game is awesome to see, and shows that even though they might not have it one night, they'll certainly give you their best effort no matter what. Shots are now 24-22 in favor of Danbury, as there's a slap shot that was whipped on by Mazuraichuk. Zinchenko might have gotten a stick on it as well. Peavy back the other way, holding onto it, looking in front, they score! Tipped in by Bo Zinchenko, third time's the charm. And finally, the Indiana Sentinels back on the scoreboard. Walking the line, will drop it off to Jawan Davis. Davis' snapshot gets blocked. Now Poetzinger on the opposite side. His shot on goal didn't make it through. It's blocked to Sosinski. He can't clear. Peavy getting in his lane. Nice job, Blake Peavy. Jawan Davis across Esposito. He scored! Ethan Esposito, what a play! That all starts because of Blake Peavy. Out at the blue line, Peavy able to get in the way of the exiting Danbury hat trick. Jawan Davis. And now a chance for the Sentinels to win it. Who do they send out? Blake Peavy, the veteran. The guy that they look to try to guide this team. Blake Peavy with some speed down the gut to the forehand. He scores! Blake Peavy wins it in a shootout. Sentinels win! Hit by Colazzo in behind. Good play, though, by Durazio from the belly. Was able to one-hand that one out. That was going to be a turnover for the Sentinels, but now it's inside the Sentinel zone. Great play by number 11. Here comes Mac Jansen walking in to the forehand. Big save by Kerr. Oh, boy, Chris Kerr fully outstretched with that left pad. What a move that was from Mac Jansen to inside out. It on its way through by Anderson, but sails just wide. 1 minute left to play. Zinchenko holding on to it at the blue line. Trying to leave it off, intercepted. Breakaway now for Eli Rivers. Rivers in, shooting, big save by Kerr as he gets the shoulder on it. Thrown up ahead for Infantino, just out of his reach and all the way down. We'll get an icing call. I would assume here in overtime, they're not going to stop trying to get those shorthanded chances. Power play starts here. The Powerade penalty kill, starts here. Rivers on the near side, trying to get around Panovanov, going cross ice. Big save by Kerr, sliding all the way to his left, able to rob Anton Rubtsov. Beautiful pass there from Eli Rivers to Rubtsov, who...
Welcome back to Topeka, where the Sentinels find themselves down 1-0 early in this hockey game. They'll find themselves with an offensive zone face-off. They'll have the Leafs unit out there. He'll win this draw. Out to the blue line, Colarusso had it stripped off of his stick, 2-on-1. For the Scarecrows. Koch over for Wilson. Shooting. Couldn't get the shot on net. Laying down to block was Castillo. I'm not sure if he got a piece of it or not, but it ended up sailing wide. Colarusso will move to Zinchenko. Pass out in front, but tied up was Anderson. And the Scarecrows will clear out through center. Bouncing puck. Poetzinger back in his own end. Is hit there by Koch. Comes around for Zinchenko. He'll flip it high through center ice. Bouncing puck is swatted in deep by Anderson. Goes in on net, and Bernard will cover. These two teams are going to see each other quite a bit over the next little while. As you take a look here, they've got 7 more matchups after tonight. They won't see each other until about mid-March when the Scarecrows come to Indiana for a 2-game series.
Then they've got 2 that are in Minnesota on the 27th and the 28th of March. And then the Sentinels finish out their season right here in a 3-game set against the Topeka Scarecrows. So going to be a lot more times that we're going to see this team. So if we think that there's some bad blood now, that's only going to bubble over here over the next couple months. This pass comes right out towards the slot, knocked away. Tortorella there will clear it out of his own end. Esposito chasing after it. He'll hack at this one and get it deep into the Scarecrow zone. Topeka will start moving out. Long pass up ahead. Deflects off the inside of the skate of Gagnon. He'll move it along for Inlow. Nice little pass there through the legs. Inlow back around in behind. Checo out top. Return pass for Checo. He wasn't ready for it. Ends up back into Sentinels' hands, and Poetzinger will start moving up ahead. Merrick Tortorella. 1-on-4 here, able to gain entry to the zone. Shoots when he scores! 1-on-4, and Merrick Tortorella lulled them all to sleep and snaps one underneath the blocker of Sammy Bernard, and the Indiana Sentinels tie it up at 1. Thanks to Merrick Tortorella and his 6th goal of the season. Boy, kind of a nothing play. He legitimately just lulled all 4 Topeka players to sleep there and overpowered Sammy Bernard with a snapshot right underneath the arm.
Scored by number 5, Maximus Merrick Tortorella.
And we are tied at 1.
Number 27, Ashton Colazzo. Time in Indiana.
Colazzo, the only assist on that goal. Long feed up ahead, ends up going all the way back into the Scarecrow zone. Bernard elects to play this one off. Clearing attempt ends up getting out to center ice. Smith will leave this one along. Nerlin dropping it down low. Graspy there in behind, tried to find Smith in front, but couldn't get it through Panovanov. Comes back to Graspy in behind. He'll go out to the blue line, just escapes past Blaisdell and out to center ice. One battle there along the wall, comes out to Pavlov. He'll leave it off for Colazzo. But Colazzo well covered, unable to get a shot off. They battle for it along the boards. Ends up going in behind the net, and Checo goes high up off the glass. We'll wrap it around and out into Sentinels territory. Approaching the halfway point of period number 1. Sentinels have tied it up at 1 thanks to Merrick Tortorella. Lease throwing it out in front, just hopped over the stick of Davis, who was driving towards the tops of the circles. Ends up all the way back into the Sentinel zone. Snapped out to center ice, and Chenko had it roll away from him. Now Elijah Wilson will throw it right back into Sentinel territory, where Castillo braces himself from the check against Koch. Lease pokes it away from Koash. Clearing attempt blocked by Wilson. Comes back to Castillo. This time he'll send it through center. Winnick settling this puck down. Shot from the bottom of the circle. Sails wide. Hippolyte Smith unable to control that puck, and it sails out to center. Zinchenko gets some help to bank that out to the red line. Turned right back in again by Bird, but offsides are the Scarecrows. Well, when you've got a 7-game losing streak like the Sentinels had yesterday, you got to find ways to try to create some offense. And you can't keep on counting on the same guys over and over and over and over again. And yesterday they got 10 different players on the score sheet based on their 4 goals. And the only guy who had more than 1 point was Bo Zinchenko. He had 2 assists. So when you get 10 different guys on the score sheet in one game, you're pretty much sealing yourself for a victory. Here's Merrick Tortorella again, driving down that far wall. This time he'll pull up and send one on goal. That sails wide. Wraps around the wall. Poetzinger pinching down low to try to keep the puck in. He's battling with Bird there in the corner. Scarecrows will come up with the puck and get it out towards center ice. Dumped into the Sentinel zone. Marian Poetzinger will drop it off in behind. Terrain there to grab it. Didn't like what he saw, so he sends it back to Poetzinger. And he'll start the breakout from in behind the net. Dylan Infantino has some space. He'll cross to the middle of the ice. Had to roll off the end of his twig, though, as soon as he got to the blue line. Poetzinger now will just toss it right back into Scarecrow territory. Picked up there by Connor Lind. And he'll pull up in behind the net, and the Scarecrows now set their breakout up. Pardon me. Look out here. That pass deflected, hit the side of the net. In front it goes. There's a shot. Big save. Rebound. Second save made by Bernard. Pass comes out in front. They score! Found its way to Jawan Davis. Goals in back-to-back games for number 6. A hard forecheck creates a turnover. Sentinels go to work. Jawan Davis left unchecked in front. It's 2-1. Shot number 1 and number 2 were both stopped, and a turnaround pass goes through Bernard, back to Davis in front. He beats Bernard on the blocker's side. And the Sentinels up by 1, pardon. Colazzo again on the assist. He had those 2 attempts at the side of the goal. And a great job to not quit on that play on the 3rd attempt. Found a way to get that to Jawan Davis in front. Wilson has this puck go through his legs. Back comes Pavlov in his own end. Koch on him. Rides him into the wall, but Pavlov did his job and got the puck out to center ice. Panavanov trying to drag his way over the line, was stood up there. And back come the Scarecrows the other way. Dipping his shoulder there is Koch. Castillo throws him into the wall. Hippolyte-Smith there to help out, and he'll start out to center ice. And Zinchenko helping him out to get it there. Anderson hits the red line. He'll dump it in. Wrapped hard around the walls, and Zinchenko the first to get to it. He'll send it down low, just out of the reach of Hippolyte-Smith. And now Colazzo collects at center. Bouncing puck comes into the Scarecrows' end. Sent in behind Bondi. Will go D to D. And skated out to center ice and flipped in deep by Litvinov. Bird, the first one to grab. He'll hold on to it with Colarusso on him. Pass out towards the slot. Bird had to knock that one down. It was about at his midsection. Couldn't really do anything with it, and the Sentinels will clear. Esposito has it swiped away from him. Following up is Davis. He'll pull up along the half wall. Look across for Esposito. A turning shot. He gets blasted as soon as he took the shot. And he has taken a couple seconds to regain his composure and try to get off the ice. Scarecrows collect. No penalty on the play. Dumped in deep. Colarusso after it. Smith lost an edge. Colarusso will move it up for Colazzo. He'll go off the glass and down. Esposito in behind the net, one-handing that towards the front, swiped away out to the blue line. Long snapshot there from Poetzinger into the glove. Bernard and Esposito not thrilled, or excuse me, Infantino not thrilled with the Scarecrows after the play. Cooler heads will prevail. Esposito getting looked at on the Sentinels bench. Will come back right after this. 2-1 Sentinels, 6:30 left to go in the